everyone. Welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And it's part A of our article all about art. Well, kind of art, about how art is made. Well,
Yes.
part A is titled Explaining a Process.
Yes, a step-by-step process.
Yeah, because when you do art, whether it's painting, writing, composing music, sculpture, you don't just have the idea and then finish it. You have to have a process. It has to come together in different steps and stages and things like that. And of course, you might have to tell people about that process or how you did something. So that's what we'll be doing. Have you done a lot of art before?
I haven't done a lot, but I in middle school I had an art class, and in high school I had a jewelry class. So still in the art kind of category. But
that's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And which of those types of art did you enjoy the most? Can you see yourself doing them in the future, either as a hobby or maybe like a new little job for yourself?
I mean, I probably am not good enough to turn anything of that into a job, but
Sure you are.
I thought they were both really fun in different ways, because I think art is really important as far as like a creative outlet, where it's like, okay, you've got all your kind of thinking and analytical stuff that you need to do in your life and go, and then art is just like you can just take a break.
That's true, yeah, and it's a little bit better than just sitting around playing cell phone games or something. You get more out of it.
Create something.
Yeah, and you're learning, and all sorts of new skills can come along. And of course, then you might have to talk about your process. So let's find out about explaining a process and see what they're explaining. Stella is explaining how something was made to Arthur.
This statue was made from a single piece of wood.
That's incredible. Do you know how it was done?
I do. I was given a link to a video by the artist.
All right, so part A, explaining a process. Yeah, someone is going to be explaining to another person kind of how they do their art, all the different stages and steps. What's going on?
Yes, and so we have two people. We've got Stella and Arthur.
Okay.
And so the setup for this scene is Stella is explaining how something was made to Arthur.
Okay.
And so we've seen this word now a couple times, this word process. So the process is the step-by-step procedure where something will happen. So again, if you were like making a cake, you would have this process. You normally don't use process in this way just because it's a little bit more of a formal word to talk about cake, but you can because it's still a step-by-step instruction. And so in this case, she's going to talk about the art process of going from something to something else. I'm not going to give it away because I don't want to spoil the ending, but she's going to talk about how something was made and the steps that were involved for that.
Yeah, the different steps, different actions in order to reach a goal or something like that.
Yes, and so we start with, now we're going to find out what it actually is.
Right.
She says, this statue was made from a single piece of wood. So she's going to be talking about a statue and how that was made.
All right, so it turns out she is an artist who makes statues. We also might say a sculpture. S-C-U-L-P-T-U-R-E, because statues and sculptures are kind of similar. It's kind of a 3D style of art, which basically means if you see a statue or a sculpture, you can walk around it. We're not talking about a picture on a wall. We're talking about an object, a thing that you can walk around. Now, statues generally look like people. Sculptures might just be interesting shapes. Both of them could be made from wood or stone or metal. Stone is often the classic one. Think of
marble.
David by Michelangelo. Think of the Venus de Milo, that lady who's missing her arms that's in, I think, the Louvre in Paris. These are some famous statues. And of course, many schools or office buildings, government buildings might have a statue of a famous leader, a president, an important person in front of them, something like that. And if you go to Europe, of course, they'll have lots of statues of kings and queens sitting on horses and stuff. You can walk around a statue. It's made of stone or metal or something like that.
The Venus one, I was just trying to think. She's in a like a clamshell or something.
No,
right?
that's Botticelli's Venus.
Oh,
This
okay,
is
then I'm
more
thinking of a
just the
different
Greek
one.
style.
Oh, just the no arms one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Also, I just have to commend you on spelling, just without
I think
looking
I got
at
that
anything.
right. Pretty sure.
I'm not very good at
I'll just stand here
spelling
like
out
a
loud.
statue for now.
But we also had this word single. She was saying that this statue was made from a single piece of wood. So the word single just means one. So you use it as an adjective. You could say, so single piece of wood. In this case, you could also say like if somebody is not dating anyone, you could say, oh, I'm single. So that would describe yourself as saying you're not a part of a couple. You are just one person on your own. So, or you want like one single French fry. Yeah, right. You
Okay.
can never have just one single
I'm on
one.
a diet. I'll only have one single French fry.
Yeah, so this
Really?
means just one.
There you go. If you're really hungry, you could eat a single pizza all by yourself, just one pizza. This is kind of course, the other idea is that there could be more than one. We're pointing out here that there really just was one piece of wood that was used to make the whole statue or the whole sculpture. That's quite impressive. Wood, of course, is what we get from trees. Tree trunks, the main body of the tree, is made from wood, and of course we use that to cut into boards, to make anything that is made from a tree. It's made from wood, from tables and chairs, to sculptures, to doors, to windows, to houses. If you cut down a tree and cut it up, you have wood. Now you can do all sorts of cool stuff. And Arthur thinks that, well, using a single piece of wood to make a statue, that's cool stuff. He says, that's incredible. That's amazing. You made it, first of all, with your own hands. It's beautiful, and you only used one big piece of wood to do the whole thing. That is amazing. That's incredible. And then he says, do you know how it was done? So he's asking Stella if she knows how the artist made this statue. You know, basically, I want more details. I want more information about how this beautiful thing was created.
Yes, and so luckily Stella does know, and she says, I do. I was given a link to a video by the artist.
Wow.
So she has a video of the step-by-step process that this art was created. And so in this part we had incredible, this word incredible, because this kind of thing, this kind of art is pretty incredible, especially to people like me who can't really do art. So I always look at that and go, wow, how did somebody do that? And so this word incredible means unbelievable, amazing, wonderful, all those great things. There's got little different pieces in it where you've got in meaning not, and then credible, this able to believe, that's what this piece of the word means. But it does just mean unbelievable, amazing, wonderful. We use it in all those different ways.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yep. Super awesome. I want not just awesome.
Stupendous.
Awesome. Yes.
Really, really, really good.
Yes.
All right, it means all that stuff. And of course, if you see something that's made by anyone that you really like, that would be a great word to use, especially if it's art. And who makes art? Artists make art. That's the kind of person we're talking about. It's a job. Some people maybe don't do it for money. They do it as a hobby. They could still be an artist. Generally, when we call someone an artist, we mean someone who paints like Picasso, someone who makes statues like Michelangelo or something like that. But really, it could be anyone who does art. A musician could be an artist. A writer could be an artist. An actor, dancer, these could be artists. But often when we use this term to talk about a person's job or something, we do mean what we would call visual arts, the arts you look at with your eyes, like statues, like paintings, like that. But really, anyone who does art could be an artist. So we're language artists.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm not sure about that one. But anyway, we'll take a break and then we'll be back to find out more about the artist's process.
I love those kinds of videos. You get to see the whole process step by step.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the bark coming off. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Was any color added to the wood? It looks a little red.
No, that's its natural color.
Wow, I'm very surprised by that.
Okay, so they're still learning about how this artist made this beautiful sculpture out of wood. Arthur wants to know more about the process. Now, this could be just something he's interested in, or of course, learning about a process would be really helpful if you would like to do it yourself, right? Well, first of all, you learn the process, and then you think, hey, maybe I can do that. That might be something I can try. And this is actually really great because his friend Stella has a video of the artist making the sculpture. So Arthur then says, I love those kinds of videos. We might call this a how-to video, how to do something. You might watch these to learn how to cook or to learn how to make something, any kind of crafts or hobbies with your hands. There, I'm sure, is a how-to video out there on the internet for you to watch to kind of learn from while watching, and it teaches you a process. And he says you get to see the whole process step by step. That's what they'll do with these videos from the beginning to the end, and the idea is if you watch it and follow along, you should be able to do something very similar yourself.
Yeah, and this has been really common. They've been coming up with way more, especially since YouTube kind of has taken over. So lots of step-by-step processes, but also there's a really famous show in America called How It's Made, and you can see the step-by-step process of how a lot of really popular products or foods or things like that are made, and you go through the whole factory.
So not just a
cool.
person making it, the machines that are used to make cell phones or cars or things. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so they do the step-by-step process. So lots and lots of videos like that.
Cool.
And so then Stella responds, yeah, it was really cool to see the bark coming off. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Wow, so they're really showing them every part of the process.
Yes, because you probably had that chunk of wood to begin with, and then the first step is to remove the bark, and that is the word that we see here. This is a noun, and the bark is just like the skin of the tree, and so it's that kind of like thin outer layer that can kind of peel off, and underneath is the really pretty different colors of wood depending on what kind of tree it is. The bark also will have different colors as well depending on what kind of tree it is. But it's usually that thin outside layer. Again, it's basically the skin of the tree.
Yeah, basically. And of course, if you want to use the wood, as you explained, one of the first things you'll do is take off the bark. Or if something falls off, we could also use the term come off.
Yes.
All right, so for example, if you use a special tool, that will help the bark to come off the tree as you sort of scrape it and cut it and chop it off. If you go out and spend too much time in the sun, you might notice your skin turns a different color. It might even turn red, and a few days later, ooh, the skin will come off. It gets dry, and it's not sort of alive anymore, and so it comes off in like little pieces. That's not a very comfortable thing. It always comes off on my nose first. Right? You can kind of scratch your nose and it will come off. Something that else that might come off as things get older is the paint. The paint on your car, your scooter, your bicycle. It might come off as it gets damaged, as it sits out in the sun or gets rain on it. So, when something that's on the outside is starting to sort of fall away in little pieces, we might say, oh, it's coming off, it's falling off, there's missing parts of it that were there before. All right, so back to the article and back to Arthur's next question. He asks, was any color added to the wood? So imagine he's looking at the sculpture now, and he asks this question because, as he says, it, meaning the wood, it looks a little red. And if I said wood to you guys, the first color you would probably think is brown, right? Wood, when we think of wood, it's usually brown of some kind, but red, it's kind of a strange color.
Yeah, but Stella says, no, that's its natural color. And so actually this is very true. There are many different types of trees out there. And again, if you only see the bark on the outside, you might not know how pretty the inside wood actually is. There's a lot of wood that is it's kind of prized for its color, and then if you put that wood in your house, like a wood floor, they usually suggest don't paint it, maybe just stain it or seal it.
It's a beautiful golden brown.
Yeah, the color itself is already, the natural color is already so pretty.
That's true, but of course you can color wood, you can paint it, you can stain it, but this wood is just naturally very red. I think cherry wood. Isn't cherry wood
I
kind
think
of
so,
red?
yeah. And
sometimes you'll see beautiful furniture and it's kind of a dark brown, reddish color. that could be it. Anyways, it's a beautiful wood. It's red. It's naturally like that. And this, of course, is something unusual. So when Arthur finds out, he says, wow! That's what you say when you hear something unusual or surprising. And as he says, I'm very surprised by that. So if you'd asked him before, he would have said, I bet you they colored that. No, they didn't. Wow, I'm very surprised. So there you go. He's learned a fair bit about the process of making this statue out of beautiful red wood. Remember, one piece of wood used to make the whole statue. A very cool artistic effort indeed. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to have more about different procedures and processes and things you can learn in tomorrow's dialogue. So please do come back and join us for that. Until then, happy art creating. happy artisting. That's not a word. Bye. Stella is explaining how something was made to Arthur.
This statue was made from a single piece of wood.
That's incredible. Do you know how it was done?
I do. I was given a link to a video by the artist.
I love those kinds of videos. You get to see the whole process step by step.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the bark coming off. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen.
Was any color added to the wood? It looks a little red.
No, that's its natural color.
Wow, I'm very surprised by that.
Hi, I'm Tina. 我们来看一下这一课的重点单字。第一个 single， 这是一个形容词，单一的。He knocked me down with a single blow. 他一拳就把我打倒了。Blow 在这里是一个名词，表示重击、打击。那 single 就是指单一一个。那父母亲其中一方怎么说呢？就叫做 single parent， 单亲。那单亲妈妈呢，就是 single mother。Single mother. Today, single parent families have become more common. 现今单亲家庭变得越来越普遍了。下一个单字 wood， 这是一个名词，木头。My dad is chopping wood in the yard. 我爸爸正在院子里劈柴。Chop 在这里指的是动词劈、砍的意思。下一个单字 artist。这是一个名词，艺术家。The picture was painted by a local artist. 这幅画出自于一位当地的艺术家。下一个单字 bark， 这是一个名词，树皮。There are some trees with white bark. 有些树的树皮是白色的。接着我们来看一下文法。第一个 step by step， 逐步的，按部就班的。Step 在这里是指名词，步骤。Don't worry, I'll go through the procedure with you step by step. 别担心，我会和你一步一步的走过这个程序。Go through 在这里指的是走过、经历。Procedure 是一个名词，程序。下一个文法 come off， 脱落、剥离。在这里是一个不可以分开的动词片语哦。These spots won't come off.这些污点没有办法去除，或者是说脱落。最后一个文法 ，Somebody can't take one's eyes off something。某人无法将视线从某个东西移开，表示某个东西十分吸引某个人的目光。The film was so interesting that I couldn't take my eyes off the screen。这部电影太有趣了，我无法将我的视线从荧幕上移开。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，我们下一课再见喽，拜拜。
Hey everyone, I'm Ian.
And I'm Matt.
And today we're playing a game called Word Drop, where we each have different words or phrases on these index cards that we've never seen before, and we're going to casually work them into conversation.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, ready? I'll go first.
All right.
Okay.
I feel like in Taiwan, there's like a lot of pressure. Usually you get pressure from your family to like date or like get married, you know what I mean? Or like to have kids and stuff. Like they're not really okay with people being single for the rest of their lives. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. I think there is a lot of pressure and people like to show their love or affection in different ways. Like, have you seen, like, on some bridges, people have those locks where they write their initials or whatever on them?
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I've never bought those. But yeah, I think that's one way people write their names places. Or some people might even, you know, scratch a heart and their initials onto the bark of a tree.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know that in Paris there's like one bridge, I think it's over the Seine or something, but they have all these locks like locked onto the fence or something, and it's like people making a wish for their love and stuff. But I've never done that before, but I always thought it'd be really interesting to like etch your initials, like, you know, in the wood, you know, of the tree.
Yeah. It's lots of good ways for people to show their love. I think another way that, you know, maybe some people might do it is to get together and have a picture of a couple drawn or painted by an artist.
Yeah, I think they did that a lot in like olden days, you know what I mean? They would like have pictures painted like of themselves or of their dogs, I don't know, whatever. But it must have been really interesting. You just like sit there. I wonder how long they had to sit there for, like hours and hours, I imagine, right? It was like a step-by-step process, like the oil, sitting, the canvas, the lighting.
Yeah. So at least the painting is something that once you've sat there for a while, you can take it home. But I know some people, you know, will vandalize and maybe like spray paint or something onto a wall, and I think that's not a great thing because it might take a very long time for that to come off.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wondered, but like, you know, when you're like driving an overpass and you're like, how did they get up there to like spray paint?
Oh yeah, that is kind of impressive.
Yeah, it is really impressive.
And then like yeah, I
they
know.
have their tags and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's impressive how they got up there.
See you next time!